Well, there's been a while since my last English review on the channel. I'm sorry about the bad lighting, but I'm currently working on a plan for a bigger desk with more space and better lighting, especially for the big tall typewriters just like this one. Now, let's see this tank. It's heavy, 20 kilos or a little more, which makes it my heaviest non-electric typewriter, along with the Russian giant Bashkiria, and it's no accident that I called it a tank back in the initial Bulgarian review. This is an Ideal Model 10, although like a lot of the Wilhelmshaven Olympia models, Ideal also did not write the model names anywhere on the typewriters themselves, unlike the Erika, even though they were produced in the same factory. According to the information I found on typewriter database, this is a 1954 model, which seems credible against the background of its design. I bought it probably 3 months ago. I just wanted to buy another typewriter. This design doesn't attract me so much, but I didn't know about the Ideal brand until then, and I also saw that the font of the Ideal logo on the front of the top cover was the same as the Erika 10, so I decided that the historical value is worth it. Well, maybe not as much as the really old Ideals, but in fact, Ideal was the earlier brand, but its production was discontinued with this particular model. This is probably the only model of the Ideal brand that doesn't look like an 100-year-old antique. Apart from the details in which it is similar to Erika, most of all the key design. In all other respects, it looks more like another peer of its age, the Optima M12. The first similarity, of course, is the removable carriage. There are two slide buttons on the side of the carriage that releases the hooks. Underneath the carriage, you can see why it's actually a tank. The inner frame here is tied to the outside body panels, so no other outside body can be used on this frame, unlike the Optima M12, which is a successor of Optima M10 and on its own set the base for the next generations of successors for 30 years forward, in the face of Optima M14, Daro Optima M16, Optima M16, Daro 20, Robotron 20 and Robotron 24. Instead of lot of empty space like the Optima, there's plenty of thick chunky metal all the way under the carriage of Ideal 10. Like the Optima M12, the Model 10 also uses different carriage lengths. 9 is the standard one, the shortest possible, but there is also a longer one with 2 paper supports. There's an active ad for the plus size carriage in our OLX version, but it's in a way worse condition than mine. Aside from the fact that this typewriter is actually maybe not extremely, but just rare enough and doesn't have a single YouTube review of it, it's not much different than most of its peers. Service row on top of the keyboard, 1 step right, release key, key blockage, the little handle on the right, color selector on the left, mine is a little bit off, and pressure selector on the right, and all other known functions on the carriage itself. What about these little round buttons here on both sides of the carriage? First, when you look at the carriage from behind, I saw that there are no paper aligners, which surprised me. They are here, just hidden. Just place the carriage at the point you want to be the start of your line and press the left button, which releases the aligner and it stops and locks in the selected position. Same with the right one. You can turn them back to the left or right and pushing the round buttons on the side and push the carriage to the left or to the right and in the same time. The problem is that because the aligners are hidden, you don't have a reference where they are, so you have to strictly use the aligning plate to mark where your next sheet should be, if it's not maximum left or right. It's very similar to the Czech brand console. The front cover is removable and the factory inscription can be seen on the inner side, as well as the noise insulation. It is not my top favorite typewriter as it comes to the feeling of typing. The keyboard is very light and quiet, which makes it very stable despite its size. Most of the typewriters this size are easy to move to the left by themselves as you type on them. But this cannot happen here. It's good, but I like more heavy hitting keyboards, much like the war and post-war Erfurt Olympias and the early Optimus to Elite 3. Another reason for me to not prefer this machine is the rather bad appearance. Yes, it's original, everything works almost perfectly, but there's no denying that it looks like an old junk tank. I would try to repaint it someday if I get the chance to do it, or at least to refresh it in some way. These tank-like designs look so much better in all black or in very dark green like my Optima M10 here. I also think that the round shapes actually makes the typewriter more rough than elegant as it is for me between the Optima M10 and M12. I think that's it for today. Share your thoughts in the comments and see you again in the next review, hopefully sooner than this and in better conditions.